Well, good morning. Today we are the 14th of March and I'd like to take you on our March garden tour. We are technically in autumn, but as yet our autumn trees have not started to turn. So welcome to Grey Gum Farm. We're a small hobby farm in the Hunter Valley, a bit north of Sydney. So we often get bushfires coming through near us here. And so a very deliberate choice of ours has been to not plant native trees or bushes in general around the house, because they are a much greater fire hazard. The native trees, the eucalypts and the melaleucas, they all are very rich in flammable oils in their leaves, and we don't want that close to the house. Whereas the deciduous trees, they get a lovely flush of fresh growth each year, and that provides, there's lots of water in those leaves rather than oils, and it's a much better fire retardant around the house than the oil-rich eucalyptus leaves. Another defence against fire is the rock wall that we have going around the entire perimeter of the house garden, which is about one acre of land. A solid rock or brick or stone wall is very effective against fire. I've been told that it is effective up to 3 times its own height, because you get the fire running along the ground coming up to the wall, and it hits the wall and sort of bounces up, and like imagine a wave. So it comes across to the wall and then bounces up and sort of swirls over. And so a solid wall around your house is very effective to contain fires. And we love sculpture in our garden, and this is a lovely concrete pot that greets you as just outside the gate of our house garden. So I'll take you for a tour around the house. So we haven't had any rain for the last couple of weeks, so the grass is starting to get a bit dry. Things aren't quite as green as they have been previously. So just inside the gate here, we've got this lovely Buddha in amongst. So this silver plant is called Senecio, and it's not looking crash hot. It's looking a little. It's not a mass of just the silver foliage, which is what we like. We're seeing a lot of sort of sticks and like the leaves have. Mildew on them, so we're hoping we can get that looking a bit more spruced up come another month for the wedding. We'll see. And above him we've got our wisteria on a supported pole, and it's just a picture when it's out. The crepe myrtle trees along the top here have all finished flowering and now have their little fruits on instead. Can you see that? Got little bunches of fruit on. And we do like the lamandras. The lamandras are a very tough plant, very hardy. They don't need very much water. But they do like water, so yeah, we plant them along the creek banks as well. They're really good at stabilising creek banks, holding the soil in so that it doesn't erode when we get floods. So we use lamandras a lot along the creek banks, and here they're just a lovely big streepy plant in the garden. So the convolvulus is not out in flower at the moment. And then we did have a lovely patch of seaside daisies here, but they are not looking happy. Well, we had an issue with oxalis in amongst the seaside daisies, and in an effort to get rid of the oxalis, we had to pretty much take out the seaside daisies as well. So we haven't decided exactly what we're going to do here. We'll have to do something to try and make it a bit prettier for the wedding. So we've got a few zinnia plants in this garden here. It used to be a pond, but the puppies were getting in there and making themselves all muddy and looking too messy. So we planted that up. So we've got a little set of monkeys here, and then another pair of monkeys grooming each other over here. Friendly little pair. And a little set of metal birds. This little bush here doesn't have flowers at the moment. It's an eriostemon. It does get white flowers, a mass of white flowers in spring, but just at the moment it's just green. It is a native bush, this one. Now, when all the other crepe myrtles have finished flowering, we are still getting flowers on these white crepe myrtles. These are Natchez, Natches, I think it is, this variety. So that is one of the benefits of the white, is that it has a much longer flowering period. We have just received through the mail some lovely daffodils and freesias and tulips, and I think we're planning on planting some daffodils around the bottom of these white crepe myrtles up here near the front of the house, around this one and those circles of stones. So this in between these two crepe myrtles, this is all fresh turf. This was a garden before, but we've decided to turf it, and the turf's coming along quite nicely now. It's been down about a month, just a bit over a month, so it's looking good. And around here we've got, beside our eriostemon, we've got some bromeliads that are looking a little happier now that the hottest of summer has passed, and some lovely pots of goras that we've got. We did have 4 pots. We're planning on using these pots of goras around the tent in the marquee when we have the wedding down on the flat. It's a beautiful morning this morning. The sun is shining, the birds are singing. It's just lovely. The bees are buzzing. Such a pretty morning. The fog's just lifting. So these are the pots of goras we have for the wedding. Looking lovely. The bees love the goras too. The goras are a really tough plant, really hardy. Mind you, once you start having goras in your garden, be prepared for them to spread themselves around, because these plants over here, these are all self-seeded themselves from further around the garden. And these lovely ponytail palms here, we call them Dr. Seuss trees. They're just beautiful. Oh yeah, we're getting a flower spike happening there. Lovely big flower spike. Can't wait to show you the garden in It's full autumn colours. It's just so pretty in autumn. But we're not quite there yet. Even though we're technically autumn, we're not quite there. We've got a lovely bench seat here with a tree on the back. This is one of our fire reels that we've got stationed around the house. We have 2 on the main house, one over at Kathy's cabin. The big plant here is a camellia, and blue is my favourite colour. This lovely dark cobalt blue these all came from my house when I moved up here to help look after Mum and Dad. We've got a lovely little lobelia in this pot here. It's starting to get a go on now. Lobelia blue eyes, right. Lovely. Little succulent in that pot there. And then this lovely one is a gerbera, a terracotta coloured gerbera. Looking very pretty. We've got a few different coloured gerberas. We've got quite a selection of pinks and a white. Do we have a yellow as well, Mum? No. Yeah. This lovely bench seat here was a present from Mum's sisters for her 70th birthday, and it's very pretty. So this one in this brick planter that we've made up, these are all just loose bricks, just stacked in a circle. And this is a purple hotbush, which gets a nice purpley colour, obviously, given the name. Its scientific name is Dodonea. The top here a bit more visible. We do get a lot of the monarch butterflies as well. Here's a lovely fellow on this salvia. Hello, Scoop. How are you, little boy? This is Schooner. He's our dash hound. And these lovely little plants, the name of these little yellow plants have escaped me. I'll put it up on the screen. The salvias are looking lovely. So this is Cathedral Deep Blue, this salvia from Bunnings. And it's just looking spectacular. The bees just love it. The zinnias here beside the salvia are what I was talking about before. We've got a lot of this mildew happening on the leaves, the lower leaves, but we might still get a show of flowers on the regrowth above. We're hopeful. I'll tell you what is looking spectacular is this salvia. We've got this lower one down here. This one. This is Waverley, and it is about 1 metre tall by 2 metres wide, and it's lovely. It has, as you can see, the bees love it too. It has a white flower with lovely purple spikes, and then a very similar one is right beside it, but it's twice as high, And it's this one, and its flowers are more lavender rather than with the purple spikes rather than the white. And the two of them together look very pretty. And this is just an enormous mound of flowers, this salvia. It just goes on and on and on. Here's a lovely little fellow. The bees just love this salvia. In fact, the bees love all the salvias. So this buddleia was cut back hard last garden tour, and it's now sprouting out and getting a lovely show of flowers. So we're about a month away now from the wedding. So that should be beautiful for the wedding as well. And here's Stacey. She's our big Rhodesian Ridgeback. She always gets her ears turned inside out. You're a lovely girl. Yes, you are. You're a big girl. Yes, Skoo. Skoo and Stacey are best of friends. So the pink gerbera is here along underneath the window. That's all still in flower. There's a variety of flowers that we have, different pinks. That's a little native bee in that one. This is a darker pink. The native bees do like the gerberas. Yet another pink. This one's a bit more salmony in colour. Again, another native bee there. So this area is always lovely. There's the cast iron plant here, the aspidistra, and the buddleia coming out into flower after being pruned back fairly hard last month. So it's looking very pretty. And then just, a collection of various water, bird baths, ponds and whatnot for the little birds to come in and have a bathe or a drink at. We've got the bromeliads here. So the bromeliads are in pots, but with the bottoms cut out, just to give a bit of extra height to the back of this planting here. These bromeliads, lovely lady with a water pitcher. I think she's actually can be a fountain, like you can get water coming out of the middle of her pitcher, but yeah, we just have her standing there in the garden. So this nice little thickety bush at the back here has a sweet little white flower, and the birds love these flowers. And we get quite a few little honey eaters coming in and hopping around it. And the other little birds really like this bush because it's a nice habitat close by these waterers. So they'll launch themselves to the pond and whatnot from this bush here, right beside the waterers. The puppies particularly like this lizard water to drink out of. And then there's another bird bath and sculpture here. This is a different bromeliad, a matchstick, this one. It doesn't have flowers at the moment. When it comes out in flower, I'll make sure I show you guys. And this is a form of maidenhair, which has, yeah, it's not your standard maidenhair. It's sort of has more sort of a hand-like formation of its fronds. And then down below there is another lovely blue salvia. So this lovely blue salvia that's growing down the bottom and is called bog sage. And then some buddleias hiding the septic tank down there. Then some callistemons around behind that, and then a second very large weeping mulberry tree down the bottom level there, with a lomandra down there beside it. Here comes Stacey and Schooner. They love the water too. Schooner's our sausage dog, and Stacey here is our Rhodesian Ridgeback. She's enormous. Puppies love this little water down here. Our pots of native violets are looking lovely, that we've got preparing for the wedding. We've got them lifted up now so that they can, to encourage them to trail down and spill over the sides of their pots. The flowers are just beautiful. Such sweet little flowers. Here I've got my greens that I like to give to the chickens, and that raspberry sorrel's looking a bit second-hand. I might give it a bit of trim back and feed the greens to the chickens. Let's spruce them up a bit. So I've got comfrey, I've got horseradish, this is raspberry sorrel, and this is just your normal sorrel with a lemon flavour, lemony flavour. And a nice bucket of greens for the chickens. This is another lovely buddleia, and you can see they call buddleias butterfly bushes because, of course, the butterflies love them. So not much has changed in this area. Buddleias are still in flower. This new little plant that Mum planted, I'll put the name up on the screen here. It's still looking very pretty. It's little spikes of flowers. So there's a few different colours and variations of the flowers, the same flower in the one pot. Looking very pretty still. Inside we've got behind this wall we've got our bathroom, and the bathroom's got its own little courtyard, private courtyard, and here we've got a few things hanging on the wall looking pretty. I particularly like this copper leaf. I think it's lovely. Just getting the fat cake out of the fridge for the fairy wrens when I realised that I haven't shown you guys the bulbs that we got, so I might do that. So at the moment I'm hobbling around using a walker because of got issues with my arthritic knee, but it is very handy, a walker, to carry things around with you. So for the larger birds we just use, currently using this wild bird mix that we pick up from the supermarket with our groceries, and we have finch seed that we use for the little tiny birds, the firetails, or red-browed finches, I think they're called. It's their official name. Yeah, now everyone should be fed. So this is for the firetails, or the red-browed finches. So we've got this bird cage with extra wire on it to stop the larger birds getting in, and so the little birds can still have enough room to hop through those holes. The bigger birds can come and have a feed here. We'll pop the fat cake in there, the cage for the fairy wrens over here. This cage over here is for... So I did do a fat cake recipe video if you're interested in how we make the fat cake, if you want to put some cages out in your own garden for little wrens or insect eaters. The lizards like it, the fat cake too. The water dragons and the skinks. We mostly get our bulbs from Tesla nurseries, and we've got 3 different types of bulbs this time round. We've got the freesias, the grandma's mixed, and so these are just your very traditional old style freesias. I just love the centre freesias. And then we've got quite a few of these miniature daffodil baby boomers. And then we've got the very traditional daffodils, the gold. So this is our sort of cafe area on the paving outside the end of the house, in front of the laundry. And again, we've got the bird feeders and more waterers. And of course we've got our lovely big white crepe myrtles up this end. Look, cast lovely pools of shade in summer. And then below them we've got a few different citrus. And we'll go over and visit my favourite sculpture. And this is our frog sculpture. So our local stonemason did this lovely fellow, and look at the beautiful weathering he's getting on him. So he's made out of sandstone, this guy, and yeah, he's just lovely. Let's have a look at his spots. And over there is Kathy's cabin. Here under the fantasy white crepe myrtle, I've just noticed that this plant is actually out in flower. So it's just a very strappy green foliage, which is always lovely and green. And then, so in autumn, we've got these nice little mauve flower spikes happening. And I'll pop the name of this plant on the screen for you. We've got a lovely little bush here. Mum thinks it's sedum, autumn joy, which is in flower at the moment, and it just does its own thing. We never have to do anything to it, and it just pops up there each year.
I do cut it down at the end of winter.
Right, so Mum cuts it down at the end of winter. We make sure we fill up all the waterers, so all the insects and birds and lizards have plenty to drink for the day. And Ty's out here helping. You like to help Granny, great Granny, don't you? Yeah. Yeah. You love a good job, don't you? Yeah. The zinnias have got this bit of fungal disease happening in their lower levels, and the ones that we cut back are showing a lot more of that, because of course that was what was left. When Kathy cut down her ones down in the orchard, they didn't really recover. Ours aren't going too bad up here. So we're over here on Kathy's veranda, And we're just starting to get the very first leaves turning for autumn. There's a nice little patch of red leaves. This here is Kathy's entryway, and she's got some shallots growing here, and a lovely thyme bush. She's got another one of these purple hot bushes, like we have in that brick planter that we made. The rock wall going the entire perimeter of the house garden. And she's got some pretty pink goras here beside the path, coming in the entryway. They look lovely. Just coming down from Kathy's veranda, we've got this lovely weeping mulberry, which has a beautiful little cubby house room underneath it. Lovely arching boughs. So the weeping mulberry is grafted onto a trunk of a normal mulberry, and then we have the weeping limbs start here. And then just down beside the mulberry is this gora garden with some red hot pokers. So the red hot pokers have finished flowering and the goras are looking quite old now. So this is stark contrast to the goras that were cut back at the end of January or beginning of February. Across the other side here, we've got our rainwater tanks and our incinerator, and these are the Gymea lilies, and they're getting their flower spikes on top. So the Gymea, I'll just stand beside it. So this is me standing beside the Gymeas, and you know, this plant is towering above my head. And that flower spike there, you know, you're looking at that plant is at least twice my height at the moment, and that flower spike has yet to finish growing. These white crepe myrtles at this end of the house have finished flowering now. See, this is one of the pink goras that was cut back. And it's looking really nice and fresh now, even starting to get a few new flowers. So come another month we might have that flowering nicely for us for the wedding. So the albizia here, its seed pods are starting to dry out. Another name for the albizia is a silk tree. And here below Kathy's veranda, she has cut back her goras, so they should look nice and fresh. Just noticed on the branches, just right in the middle of the silk tree, is just a couple of little flowers. Looking beautiful. And beside the silk tree here, beside the rock, is a nice little lemon tree. And across the grass, so we don't water this area of grass, so it just has to fend for itself. And we've got the other end of this patch here is a little lime bush. I've just realised that I don't think I've shown you this sculpture we've got in the garden. It's down near our cubby house tree, and it's a lovely granite turtle, and because he's granite, he's really solid, so the children can hop on him and give him a ride. So here we are in the courtyard garden, and we've still got the plumbago out in flower. It's looking lovely. And these are the goras that we cut back at the end of January, and they are just looking lovely and fresh here. So in stark contrast to the ones that were not cut back down near the cubby house tree. So that's a good comparison. Then on this lowest level we have the salvias that we also cut back, and you can see that they're giving us another nice flush of flowers too. So yeah, this should all look lovely and have plenty of flowers for the wedding. We've got the wistringia above and the crepe myrtle trees above that. So at this end of the courtyard, and the stairs going up to the front gate, we've got some nice rosemary plants that are in flower, and these pink goras were also cut back, as were the Mexican limelight salvias over here. And yeah, so they're starting to pop up again. And then that takes us back around to our ponytail palms. And that's the end of the tour. Thank you for joining me once again for a tour of our garden. So this is our March tour. If you do enjoy our videos, please like and subscribe. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.